Okay, I don't get why y'all are shipping these two together. I mean, come on. Everyone thinks about their friends naked in the shower, or holding hands in bed, or in public, or lightly caressing their face when they say goodbye. Oh, I can't keep that up. These bitches are so gay, my god. Alright. Arcane is the smash hit no one asked for, as the third worst company in gaming gave the French a chance to make a show about Korea's national pastime, with the show's biggest revelation being it's actually good. But surprising no one, it's got lesbians. Thank you, France, and the original game. Barely. Taking place over 3 acts, this grand tragedy gave us Vi and Caitlyn. When I finished the show, I only wanted 2 things: to cry my eyes out and to inject them directly into my veins. Because while they're not technically together yet, and them hooking up isn't the main focus of the story, they are that good shit. And I just want to take a few minutes out of your day to talk about them. What works, what I love, where I think this ship is going. This video was either going to be about them or Victor, but then Mel happened, so here we are. Basic of basics. Vi's what you get if Orange Was the New Black was an anime. She's got the best of intentions if manslaughter was legal. Her name means 5, but the only math she does is fist equals face. Slap on a backstory about finding her parents post-police, getting raised by the system, and never skipping arm day, you got a bona fide menace to polite society. Vi lived in the worst slum in the world, with rivers so bad that they'll give you a black eye just for taking a bath. The Undercity is the worst kind of ex. One so toxic, it can ruin your life even if you leave it. Growing up with a crew and her kid sister, her life was one long tug-of-war between being the responsible one and being stupid. Hating the city of Piltover for killing her parents, ruining her city, and setting up a system of class segregation that remind her every day how worthless she is. Vi's got understandable anger issues, especially when it comes to Piltover. It's a city of progress, but it doesn't pay its own bills, even having the audacity to turn around and blame the Undercity for not being quiet enough about being poor. This is pretty much the most abusive city-to-city relationship since any of them. Taking the beatings and powering through on nothing but rage and great hair, Vi's life pretty much starts at rock bottom before free-falling into the Earth's core, when her adopted father's bitter-ass former partner Silco shows up determined to ruin his life. Using a public relations crisis Vi's sister Powder started when she accidentally dropped the ball to jump everyone. And having already learned from her surrogate daddy Vander that she's the leader, aka everything that can and will happen will be her fault, the fact that her plan was what led to her dad getting kidnapped just didn't sit right with her. Unfortunately for her, knocking out guys twice her size doesn't work on a guy 3 times her size, especially when the guy's running on purple Kool-Aid. Add in the fact that the little sister she loves, but didn't want there, ends up exploding onto the scene. So yeah, her friends are dead, her dad is dead, she punched her neurodivergent sister in the face and set her lack of self-confidence back 15 years with just a sentence. But before she can unfuck the situation, worst daddy Silco adopts Powder while Vi gets sent to prison, which is a lot like middle school. Just lose the school, keep the beatings, and it's somehow just as productive. But Vi got gains and tats, so let's just call it a loss and move on. Next up on the shipping list is Caitlyn, aka Cupcake, because as the buff woman says,
"But you're so sweet. Like a cupcake." Shut up.
Kate is the polar opposite of Vi. She's rich, tall, with breathing parents. But it wasn't enough for her to be on the right side of town. Her family is rich, like top 10 in the city rich. So obviously Kate could have had pretty much anything her tiger mom would allow or weasel out of the male wife. She chose neither though, becoming her own independent woman, trying to do good in the world. Only problem, she's rich and doesn't know what the enforcers actually do. But before she was a cop, she hung out with a family friend and her personal BFF, Jace. After getting his life ruined, Kate accidentally convinces him his life isn't worth living. I have no point here. I just want to put out there, Kate nearly killed a man and Victor saved him. After nearly killing a man in Act 1, Kate decided to make a career out of it by joining the Enforcers, where she basically lived my dream. I mean, if I could get a job where my mom and my boss tell me not to work and still get paid, I'd drop YouTube in a heartbeat. Kate, being the fine, upstanding citizen that she is, takes her job very seriously, even when no one else does, as she would rather be straight-edged to a fault than get in because of connections. That said, she will still abuse that shit if it means getting the job done. After investigating a crime scene and finding a witness, she finesses her way into prison to have a word with him only to find out someone else did, which is where our girls finally meet. And it's perfect.
What are you here for?
My sunny personality.
Now let's quickly go over the evidence of this ship before we go into overall thoughts about why they work so well versus the other couples who will not be named. Okay, so these two aren't immediately flirting from minute one, but in my head they are. The reason I honestly like this ship is just how low-key it is. Sure, I love some uncut drama as much as the next degenerate, but when you got a show that's as well-tuned as this, cramming moments just for the sake of it wouldn't do anyone any favors. You look at these two and think they're polar opposites, which is what they assumed too. But once you put them together, they and us, the audience, realize how similar they are. Sure, they're from the opposite sides of the tracks. Ultimately though, they're good people who just want to protect those they care about. Only difference, Vi is jaded and guarded about who she can trust, while Kate was probably reading superhero comics as a kid and wants to do right by everyone, which is the natural way these two get integrated into each other's lives. Vi doesn't think Cupcake is a bad person per se, but she's the tag along, not a priority, ditching her the first chance she gets to indulge in some self-destructive revenge, rather than trying to solve the bigger picture like Kate. Vi's apathy for Kate changes when she saves her from the double gut punch. This is where Vi stops treating this as a game, bumping up Kate to someone she takes seriously. Yes, this scene did happen.
You're hot, Cupcake. So what'll it be, man or woman?
Kate chose women, FYI. The game was practically over by this point, but the writers clearly wanted to give someone a heart attack, which they probably succeeded. These two stop seeing each other as the stereotype of their city. We catch Kate lusting something fierce. Yes, Kate is the thirsty one in this relationship, not even close. Because sure, Vi called her hot and was holding her cheek after the hug, but Kate is holding her boozed face after giving her drugs, and those eyes be wandering. So she tries to play it off to get her own mind back onto business. Yeah, it's quick, but that little shit is what I love. The story never lingers, but you can feel those little moments building till they're outside in the rain in a breakup scene right out of Hallmark.
What about us? Oil and water. Was it meant to be? You're just saying that.
Just kiss your fruitcakes!
It all makes perfect sense though, because this show is trauma incarnate. Vi realized what her sister had become and watched her get taken again by Silco, leaving her near crying in Kate's bed where they comfort each other. Kate is being supported. She's being what people in denial would call a good friend. But the subtext, no, this is mostly text. There are small physical acts of intimacy in all their interactions. Vi pinning Kate against a wall, laying in bed, that lip bite while thinking about Vi. It pretty much codes all of this as a love story, which I don't support, because that implies it's not my lifestyle, which it basically is at this point. Even Jinx, the girl in need of medication and therapy, views them as an item. It's locked up in her abandonment issues, but she does see it, enough to where she kidnaps dresses, and ties up the girl to force Vi to kill her. Doesn't work because crazy, but with Vi now firmly not on the side of the Undercity and Kate's mom getting sent to Disney heaven, Kate Vi will definitely feature heavily in the next season, with the whole "your crazy sister killed my mom" thing being the elephant in the room. I like this ship. It ticks all my boxes. Opposites attract, them being great characters on their own, and the height difference. I can't explain it, but the tough, strong one being shorter, it gets me every time, and y'all better respect that in the fan art. I also love how the studio took a hatchet to the bride's original designs, because the game has a bit of a history with making their men whatever the hell they want. Well, the women get to be anything they want so long as they're hot. Taking a page out of Disney's playbook and making all the females look alike, making it come off as there being just one defining standard of beauty, and they do not deviate unless the character is meant to be unattractive or that one exception. Vi's original design kinda being one of those things that I think works on its own, if on its own it was a steampunk fetish. From the weird corset to the random tutu, plus the boob window out of nowhere, random goggles, and looking like she's never taken a gust of wind to the face, let alone a hit. This design is male gaze cranked to 100 and doesn't really work with the street rat origin they gave her. So the fact that they simplified it, gave her actual clothes, scars that don't look penciled in, and mass? Yeah, Vi is jacked in this show, and I'm all for it. Cora, she did this to me. Vi is jacked and finally has a body that matches her backstory and fight style. She's still hot, and the bangs covering her eyes might seem out of place, but it's iconic, so why complain? I think it just works better. Caitlyn got a similar treatment. Also, she's white in the game. They race swapped her to someone of Asian descent as a nod to her actress, Katie Leung, who, I shit you not, was Cho Chang in Harry Potter. But what I love about Caitlyn's redesign is that it nailed imperfect beauty. Game Kate looks like a model after Photoshop. Arcane Kate, yeah, she's still a model, but from the small tooth gap to the slight bags under her eyes, this isn't a representation of what your average woman looks like, but it's a good step away from being purely for eye candy roots of her origin, which was so bad at first that Riot actually changed her design years later, but you can still feel it trying to creep into the system. Like, yes, I am a male, I do gaze. But growing up with this kind of stuff for so long kind of hits a point where I don't care anymore, and skinny bitches with a wasp waist don't even register anymore. I'll take buff with a personality over none and trying to titillate, which is probably the only reason I'm still reading My Hero Academia. Like I keep saying, this is my shit. From the story of the girl going from fuck the police to respectfully dating them, these two honestly make every scene they're in and always left me wanting more. This is technically only the beginning of a relationship. Virtually everyone is already behind it though. You got the playful banner, the nicknames, the power yet tender moments. This shit pretty much has moments for every taste. To me, it's a no shit Sherlock moment that this thing is as popular as it is. I like them, I love them, they love them, and there's no home wrecker in sight. Alright friends, that's it for this video. Keep it short and barely concise. My new mode. Subscribe because a YouTuber told you, and tell me what you thought about Kay and Vi, or any other ship you want me to cover in the future. I don't take requests, but I do enjoy the suggestions so long as they're in the comments. Peace out, have a good one.